Welcome in. It's here or it's almost here. Ryder Cup is 12, 15 hours away from kicking off. Is that about right? I think it is about right. All right. We've got a lot to get to. We've just got the Friday foursome session one. The pairings and matchups are out. It is absolutely a thing of beauty. I think there's been a couple mistakes that have been made. There are a couple of really interesting matchups that we have to go through. We can now start setting our DFS lineups. We can finalize our wagers. We can do a lot of fun stuff, but in reality, this time is yours. I've spent the day at Bethpage Black. I have picked the minds of some of the people in this industry that I respect the most. I've sat in press conferences. Today, I've got information that needs to get out of my brain, out through my lips, and into your ears. So any of your questions, your concerns, your comments, now would be a very good time to start getting them in the chat. I will sit here as long as possible because my friends are still at the golf course and have to sit on an hour and a half shuttle ride home until we can have dinner. So I've got plenty of time to sit here and chat with y'all. Couple of items straight out of the gate. Let's talk about the golf course. Then we will talk about these matchups. It is wet. It is, it poured all night. It poured this morning. It rained on and off all day. It is very, very wet. The fact that you're actually seeing this window here this is the first semblance of sun that I have seen basically all day long. It's coming out now at 4:30 Eastern. And so that's the first sun we've seen. The golf course is going to play very long. There have been stark contrasts in this golf course from major championships played here in the past, particularly the 2019 PGA Championship, and the way that it is set up right now. That knee-high fescue that you saw basically just off the fairway in 2019, that's much farther away than the fairway. The rough is very generous. You are going to see guys really, I think, take advantage of this golf course, especially with receptive greens. We're hearing guys talk about making birdies, right? Like you're going to have to make birdies around this golf course, which is not a bloodbath like if it was running firm and fast or anything like that, or if the rough was grown up. This is a really friendly version of Bethpage Black. So a lot of that trouble has been shaved down. You'll also notice, if you're out here, the rope lines, from what I understand, have been moved significantly closer to the fairways or to the rough, almost in an attempt to, like, if you're going to spray it big and get it down into the trampled areas. That's really what it feels like, especially, talking to some people about the way the rope line was set up at championships here in the past. It does seem like USA might be trying to get a little trample effect out there. So that's one strategy. We'll talk about that. But yeah, I think you're going to have to make birdies. I think you're going to have to make a lot of birdies to win holes. You're not going to be able to win holes by making pars. We are going to foursomes on Friday morning. Session number 1, Friday foursomes. Here they are, hot off the presses, with odds, with my picks. And I'll describe my picks to you, or at least my first reactions for these groups. So out of the gate, we're not seeing Sam Burns. We're not seeing Cam Young. We're not seeing JJ Spawn. We are not seeing, who's the last guy that we are not seeing here? I'm blanking on the last American. Spawn? Oh, Griffin. Ben Griffin. Excuse me. Jeez. Okay. I have worries about this Morikawa English team in a big way. I'm glad to see that Russell Henley is out there. There was a rumor flying that we were not going to see any rookies in the opening session. That is obviously not the case. So I'm happy about that. There's some concerns here, and I would have had JJ Spawn out there. I absolutely would have had JJ Spawn out there. I would have put probably Colin Morikawa and JJ Spawn together, quite honestly. Justin Thomas and Bryson DeChambeau versus Terrell Hatton and John Rahm. Oh boy, this is going to be lit, right? If you're going to be here tomorrow, get here early. You're going to need to get here early, get a spot on the first tee, because this is going to be absolutely nuts. That is going to be fire on fire. Like, let's get after it. I think there are concerns around Bryson playing alternate shot in general. Justin Thomas, who, if you look at some of the power, I mean, this is the last 36 rounds for everybody in the everybody in the Ryder Cup. Justin Thomas is 21st out of 24 over the last 36 rounds. The approach play is not very good. You're going to obviously get a big benefit from Bryson's driver, but you've got a putter in Justin Thomas, which is improved, but we'll see what it's like under stress, whose approach play is not very good right now. And Bryson is kind of a big question mark in general. He likes to play a very different, unique style of golf. Rahm and Hatton played together twice in Rome in foursomes. They won both of those matches. They played once together at Whistling Straits. That was in 4-ball, and they halved it. So they have not lost together in at least the last 2 Ryder Cups. I think this is a very good out of the gate matchup for the Europeans. I give the nod to the Europeans. They are small favorites in that matchup. They're minus 120 to Bryson DeChambeau, and Justin Thomas is minus 110. This second group, I like the second group for the Europeans. I think Ludwig Åberg is an animal. He gets Matt Fitzpatrick, who's playing some of the better golf that we have seen in the world as of right now. And I'm excited for both of these guys. I think it would have been interesting to see a Hovland Ludwig match pairing again. Matt Fitzpatrick's been he's been well-rounded. His tee to green play has been great. He's been piling up top 10 finishes. I love this group for Europe. Problem, they're getting the Scheffler Henley buzzsaw. Okay. And Scheffler and Henley are not the biggest favorites on the board. They're the second biggest favorites on the board. They're minus 175 to Fitzy's and Ludwig's plus 130. And I get it. Scheffler's the best player in the world. He and Russell Henley have formed a great bond, not only in practice rounds, but at the Pro Tour, at the President's Cup. These guys are very, very dangerous together. They are the second biggest favorites on the board, and they should be. I take the Americans in that matchup. McIlroy and Fleetwood are the biggest favorites of the day. Minus 185 to Colin Morikawa and Harris English. It's always easy to say this right now, and it's golf and anything can happen. It looks one way on paper, but this thing is going to be played on grass. And the Morikawa English one is kind of the big question mark for me. I'm not sure if this was an analytics play. I'm not sure if this was they play the same golf ball and we like these two together and we don't want to run Spawn and Griffin out there. I don't know what this was. Morikawa coming in over the last 36 rounds is by far the worst putter of anybody here at the Ryder Cup. Harris English is the 17th best player overall. The only thing he is doing is putting well. So, okay, I suppose that if they can stay on script, that would be one thing. You know, you've got, let's say English tees off and then you get Morikawa hitting the approach shot and then English rolls in. If they can stay on script, maybe this thing goes well. If they get off script, this is going to be a bloodbath. You know, Tommy Fleetwood and Rory McIlroy must be licking their chops here. Two guys with a great bond, with a ton of Ryder Cup experience, with a ton of points that have been won. Rory McIlroy, I mean, I'm looking at the last 36 rounds right now, and this is probably down for Rory. He's 1.5 strokes gained per round. Tommy's at 1.8. These are two of the best players here at Bethpage, going up against basically two of the worst. And I don't know what the purpose of this matchup is. I would have liked to, I mean, dude, I understand if you don't want to bench Morikawa. Give me Morikawa Spawn. If you are willing to bench Morikawa, give me Spawn Griffin. Give me Griffin Burns. Give me almost any combination other than Morikawa English. Maybe that ages poorly, and in 12 hours, these guys go out and rip Rory McIlroy and Tommy Fleetwood. I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case. Las Vegas doesn't necessarily think that's going to be the case. They're the biggest favorites of the day, minus 185. So right there, we've got, for me, 2 picks to the Europeans, 1 pick to the Americans. I think this fourth matchup is crucial. I think it's very tight. I think it's going to be a phenomenal match. I think we could get here 2-1 for the Europeans. And now this is going to decide whether this is a 2.5 to 1.5, whether it's a 3-1, whether it's a 2-2. This is a critical match for both of these teams. And I hate saying that something is critical in session 1 on Friday morning, but this final match feels critical. It feels critical out of the gate because it's Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay against Victor Hovland and Robert McIntyre. Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay are here and paired together to dominate. That's what they are supposed to do. They are supposed to replicate everything that they have done at President's Cups, Ryder Cups, Zurich Classics, any other team event. They are here to replicate that right now. And if you don't get that, this American team is in trouble, in my opinion. Okay. And I do think there are big question marks around those two guys. Yes, they have both been they've had good years, not great years. Statistically, over the last 36, they're 18th and 19th in total strokes gained. Victor Hovland is 12th, Robert McIntyre is 13th. So it's not like a crazy situation, but both the Europeans have been playing better, at least recently, compared to the two Americans. I'm trying to pull up Xander Schauffele's radar profile here. I'm on my laptop on bad internet live streaming. So give me a second. This might take a few moments, but I'll load this up. Xander's 2025 was good, but it was one of the worst of his career, at least worst recently. He was only a 0.69 strokes gained per round golfer. That is not nearly as good. Obviously, he had the injury. Cantlay was fine, played a little bit better as of late. The setup for the Americans, which is going to allow for you to spray it, is good for Robert McIntyre. So they've kind of stepped on the rake there a little bit. And then Victor Hovland, who I think is kind of the X factor in this entire tournament, who has played all 10. He's now played 11. Victor Hovland has now played, or will play when this thing kicks off tomorrow, 11 of 11 sessions in his Ryder Cup career. He has never sat out, and I don't think we're going to see that anytime soon. This is a massive matchup. As of right now, Xander Schauffele and Patrick Cantlay are small favorites. I got this number from DK Sportsbook. Like, as soon as it came out, it was fluctuating already. They are small favorites in this. I have opted to go with the European side of things. So I've got Europe 3-1. It's probably more likely there's a 2.5, 1.5, maybe a 2-2. I think that's very close. You might get a tie in one of these matches, but I think this is a very, very good draw for Europe out of the gate. Might have been more interesting if McIlroy and Fleetwood ended up getting Scheffler and Scotty Scheffler and Russell Henley, and what those odds would have been. But with the way that this is setting right now, I think it's quite a favorable draw for the Europeans. Let's get to some of these questions here. Blindly picked. That's true. This is not the President's Cup. In the President's Cup, what they do is one team will throw out who they're going out with, their two guys, and then the other team has like a minute to respond, and it's done in real time. This, each of the captains say, hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, here's who we're putting out, and that's who we go with. So you're setting it up for like, I want star power out of the gate. I want some like juice out of the gate. Now I remind you, and I've said this 1,000 times in the last 2 years, when I was in Rome, the first session out was just 8 Americans walking the plank. There was no juice. There was no fire. There was nothing. Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth did not play that session. I can't remember who went out first. Was it Cantlay and Schauffele against Rahm and Hatton? And there was just literally no juice whatsoever, and they got spanked from there on out. This will be different. The Bryson factor. JT is the only other guy with fire on this squad. Like, it's going to feel different in match number 1 this time around. So no, that is true, LVL. They do not respond to one another. Big boys running hot. Okay. So my betting card, which, listen, you should not care at all what my betting card is. My risk tolerance is different than your risk tolerance. You should not bet what I bet. I say this stuff all the time, right? And I believe that. I'm telling you who I would bet in these Friday foursomes. I have not bet any of those yet because they just came out. My biggest exposures are to Team Europe to win the Ryder Cup. That's 2 of my 3 largest positions or something like that. And then what I do have are a lot of things like DJ Spawn 2+ points. Okay, I have that. I've got Scotty Scheffler to go out first on Sunday. I've got, let's see what else I've got here. I'm trying to load it up. Also, I've been in a lot of different states recently, so I've got to like keep logging in and out of like BetMGM in wherever I was, Virginia, BetMGM in Maryland, BetMGM in New York. So I got to like get it to log me in and log me out. So I'm trying to log back in right here. I've got I have two top American positions, Scotty Scheffler at, I think it was 3-1, and JJ Spawn at like 20-1. I've got Victor Hovland, top Europe and top overall exposure as well. He was much too long in those markets. I also have a couple of tournament long points matchups that I can't get to load right now, but I believe Hovland is definitely on one side of it. I think I might have McIntyre over Cam Young. If I can get it to load, I'll let you know. But now the fun starts because I'm going to go start betting these matchups and things of that nature. All right, let's do this. Morikawa and English about to get dog walked. I kind of agree. Not sure what we're seeing on this squad though. Is it alt shot or best ball? So opening session, this session right here that you're seeing is alternate shot. Here's the best way to remember this. Greg Ducharme taught me this. I used to just have to remember it. In 4 sums, you hit some of the shots. In 4 ball, you hit all of the shots. Got it? There you go. That's what it is. So we're going to play foursomes in the morning. And then just as this session is ending, Luke Donald and Keegan Bradley are going to announce the groups for the afternoon session, which is going to be 4 ball. So there will be 4 more matches, and it'll look very, very similar to this, except every golfer is going to play their own ball throughout the entire thing. It is not going to be it's not going to be alternate shot. Would a 1-1-1 Friday morning score be out of the question? Yes, because that is only 3 points. So you need to get 4 points somewhere. Yes, that is very out of the question. You need to get 4 points somewhere. Could be 2-2. I think 2-2 is very possible. Rahm, you get basically Rahm and Hatton beating DeChambeau and Thomas. You get Scheffler dog walking Fitzy and Ludwig. You get McIlroy and Fleetwood beating the crap out of Morikawa and English. And then that final one, I think, is very, very tight. If that falls to the Americans, yeah, you could like 2-2. I don't know what the odds for 2-2 are. I guess I could look it up. I think it's like a pretty realistic outcome. I also think that is probably a favorable outcome to America. If America can get through 2-2 in the opening session, I think that is really good. So here we go. Yeah, and that's 2-2 is actually the favorite. So it's plus 255 for the finals, for the opening session to be 2-2. That is the shortest odds. US 3-1 is the next shortest at plus 425. Europe 3-1 is plus 450. I actually also think if you wanted to, ties are hard, but Europe 2.5, 1.5 at plus 550 is very interesting. I think that last match is going to be very close. What if it just ties, right? And then the other ones fall as we think they do. That's plus 550. So tie is the most likely scenario, even though it is plus 255. Okay, the DraftKings strategy here. So I'll describe this. So this is not. You don't have to do it this way. It's optimal, but it is not necessarily going to be the only way that you can do this. But in theory, you should be playing guys who are going to go out on Friday morning, because these are the only 16 golfers who can play all 5 sessions, right? If they're not in the opening session, they can't play all 5. Now, you might see that Harris English only plays 2 or 3 sessions, and then you might get JJ Spawn or Cam Young or whoever come out and end up playing the same amount. So it's not critical to do it this way. So right now we're kind of looking for, I think, guys that are a little bit of a surprise. So for me, the biggest surprises here in terms of DraftKings would be Fitzpatrick and would be McIntyre. So Fitzpatrick, who is 1-7 in his Ryder Cup career, is $6,800 on DraftKings. He is the 15th most expensive golfer out of 24. He's only $6,800. He is, for a fact that he is going to play the opening session, and he is going to play with Ludwig Åberg. Those are 2 very, very, very good things. The problem is he got Scheffler and Henley. So he can accumulate points. Like even if you lose a match, playing and losing, as long as you don't get absolutely smoked, is better than not playing at all, right? You assume they're going to win some matches or win some holes, tie some holes. They're going to be just fine here. The real value appears to be Robert McIntyre, because not only is Robert McIntyre even cheaper, he's $6,000 on DraftKings, but he is getting Victor Hovland, and he is getting a match that he is about a toss-up in. Okay, that's a very good thing in terms of DraftKings pricing. You could also kind of look at this and say, okay, if Hovland and McIntyre win, are they also going to get the nod on Saturday morning in foursomes? I don't know. If no matter what the outcome is, does McIntyre get Justin Rose in 4-ball, which was a very successful pairing in Rome? And because Rose is not playing in the morning, it's pretty likely he's going to play in the afternoon. He's probably not going to sit out all day. I think that that's a reasonable assumption to make. And what you might get is Rose goes with McIntyre and Hovland goes with Højgaard in the afternoon is what I think is a reasonable, a pretty reasonable thing to do. That's interesting. On the American side of things, let's see where Justin Thomas, he was $7,800. So he's got, is he the cheapest American that's playing? Morikawa's playing, but he's, again, Harris English is, I guess if you were really desperate, getting a golfer at $4,600 who is playing the first session is very interesting. The other thing is, okay, I guess I could make the case for English being just survive this McIlroy Fleetwood matchup and don't get blown away. And then I think that you could get a Scheffler English 4-ball. I don't know how likely it is, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. So there's a couple of values here. Otherwise, I think the American team, most of this is exactly what we were expecting. I think McIntyre gets a good draw. I think Fitzpatrick gets an okay one, unfortunately, because of the matchup. I guess what you also get is Fleetwood with a pretty big increase here. He was already expensive. He was $8,800. He was going to be pretty popular anyway. But you get Fleetwood with Rory McIlroy in the biggest favorite of the day. That's pretty damn good. Have you had a look at Rasmus? Who are some other notables, perhaps like Nikolai, in attendance this week who you've seen? Nikolai's not playing. I'm just to make clear for everybody. Yeah, so out there today, all the Europeans were out. The Americans just kind of practiced. They didn't play really any holes. I thought that, again, it was limited. It rained on and off. I saw a handful of shots, a couple of holes, and everybody looked fine. There was nothing that I saw that would sway me one way or another. I know what these guys are about. I think it's a lot of the odds and a lot of the potential pairings, and I'm comfortable doing that. I did not learn anything additional today about these golfers. I learned about the golf course. I learned about the conditions, how it's changed over the years, but I didn't see anything like that. The idea about playing two guys in the same pairing. So the question is it smart? It depends on what you want, right? So it will make you more volatile. So what happens is, let's say you play both of, who's a good example? Victor Hovland and Robert McIntyre tomorrow, and they win 2-1. They're both going to earn the same number of points no matter what. Okay. So even if Hovland makes 9 birdies and wins 9 holes himself or whatever, right? It's darting there. It's same thing applies to 4-ball. It doesn't matter. They are a unit. They are a team for DraftKings scoring. So that means that you are either going to get, double the points. You're going to get double the points no matter what. If they play well and they smoke these guys, then you are getting twice the points. If they struggle and lose, you have now allocated 2 of your roster spots to guys that lost. So it's not that it's smart or it's dumb. It's just that you are going to make yourself more high risk, high reward. I would much rather see a pair like JJ Spawn with Ben Griffin to see if they catch fire over maybe Morikawa and English or DeChambeau and Thomas. I get I can get the DeChambeau and Thomas thing. So my biggest beef in Rome was, if you remember coming into Rome, Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth were both huge question marks. And they got in and we didn't know what we had. And when I say we, I don't mean we like I'm part of the American squad. We as golf fans had no idea what we had. And I thought it was stupid to not play those guys in the very first session and find out exactly what you had. So when you have these unknown entities, I want to find out exactly what I have right away. This is only 5 sessions. It is a sprint now. I wanted to find out right away. And if you got good stuff from Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas, you could have played them all 5 sessions, right? That's kind of what I feel like with Bryson DeChambeau and Justin Thomas. I have no idea what these guys are going to be. They might be horrible together. They might be great. They might have this place rocking tomorrow and they might go nuts. So so a hat tip to Keegan Bradley here compared to what Zach Johnson did not do in Rome is that you take these two guys, these two unknowns, you throw them out first and you say, go show me what you are. And if they play well, go put them out in the Friday afternoon together and let them keep doing it. Send them out first on Friday afternoon. The Morikawa English one, I just don't know what the thought process was. I just don't know. I agree. Give me any other pair. Give me Griffin and Spawn. I would have loved to see both of those guys out there in the opening session. Put them together. Fine. I guess maybe there's some loyalty to Colin Morikawa and not having your 2-time major champion sit on the bench. I don't know, but that is that's tough. That's tough. My book has Europe to win Friday foursomes at plus 165. Those are great odds, right? Well, I see it as Friday foursomes at I see the same thing. You don't have any better odds. I see plus 160, so you have slightly better odds. I believe so, right? I mean, I've shown you this 100 times now. I think that these are 3 2 very good and 1 slightly favorable matchup for the European side. Which pairings do you think are likely to go out Saturday morning, no matter how they do tomorrow morning? To go out Saturday morning? Xander Cantlay will almost. So that would be Saturday morning foursomes. Schauffele Cantlay, Scheffler Henley, I think are the 2 absolute most likely to go back out together no matter what happens in alternate shot on Saturday morning. Probably Rahm and Hatton would also fall into that category. And those are the 3. If DeChambeau and JT stink, I don't think they're going to run those guys back out there. Morikawa and English, I think, are likely to sit the bench at some point. And then these are new pairings with Fitzpatrick, Ludwig, Hovland, and McIntyre. I think that does rely on what the outcome is if they're going to go back out on Saturday morning. And then McIlroy and Fleetwood would be like that 4th group. So after those 3, the 4th one that I think are possible, but McIlroy has been grouped with a lot of guys over the years. He's not necessarily going to play with Fleetwood every single time. You could see, if I had to guess, it'd probably be Rory and Lowry on Saturday morning together is probably what would happen here. So Cantlay, Schauffele, Scheffler, Henley, Rahm, Hatton, I think are all playing Saturday morning together, no matter the outcome. Who do you think plays the least matches for each team? Well, now seeing this, Rasmus, I think, is going to play 2 or 3 sessions. He obviously has to play Sunday singles, so that's one of them. I think that Sam Burns is in a little bit of a pickle because he was a captain's pick, so he didn't have a great year. He has already lost out to like English for a spot to play with Morikawa or to play with that odd man. Spawn and Ben Griffin had phenomenal years, so you would expect those guys to get in here at some point. And Scheffler has basically pushed Burns away and taken Henley as his partner. So that's tough as well. So I think Burns is in a little bit of a difficult spot. Maybe he gets Scheffler in 4-ball, but I really think Burns is probably in a tough spot. I think that Rasmus, not that anybody's just happy to be here, but I think Rasmus is happy to be here, happy to be part of the team. I think he wants to play a lot. I do not think he's going to play a lot. And then really what's the name that we've talked the least about this week? Sepp Straka. who finished dead last in the Tour Championship by a mile. His game might be very, very bad right now, and I'm not sure he is necessarily going to be playing a lot of golf this weekend. There you go. We got to. You got to have 4 points. You got to have 4 points out of that group. We got to have 4 points out of that group. Who is your favorite pick outside of the guys starting on Friday morning? So just to earn the most points of guys who are not playing on Friday morning. So who does that leave me with? That leaves me with, hold on, I'm going to see if I can pull this up so I can just look at the list of guys that are not playing. So that leaves me with Rasmus Straka, Rose, Spawn, Lowry, Griffin. That's 6. Burns, Young. That's 8. And I think that's all of them. Cam Young, I believe, is the answer to that question. JJ Spawn, I think, is high up there for me, but I'm starting to get worried that he's not going to get used properly. Here's a scenario that I think for Cam Young is that I think that he could potentially play Friday afternoon with Bryson. It seems like they've been setting that up a little bit. And Cam Young is not going to go all Friday without playing. Then I actually thought there was a chance that you could have played Bryson and Cam Young together in alternate shot. I think Cam Young can play with a lot of guys in alternate shot. I would not be surprised to see a slow start for Cam Young because he's not playing on Friday morning, and then just him run like rough shot through the rest of this week. I think that was, I think that's really possible. Am I crazy to think that Europe will win in New York? No, I think they are going to win. I think that, not only do I like the value of the plus 150, plus 160, plus 170 that you might be able to get on them, I think this is a very good draw in the opening session. I also don't think this is not, we are getting farther away from the days of Andy Sullivan and Ian Poulter and Chris Wood and, well, I shouldn't even say Ian Poulter. He's been great at Ryder Cups, but there's always been 2 guys or 3 guys on the European team that are not competitive in the touring world. Every single one of these Euros are full-time PGA Tour players and compete with the best players in the world every single week, right? I mean, we are so far removed from the rollovers at the bottom of these teams. And now the top end is just as good, if not better. And I think they're playing better coming in. Yeah, I really like this European squad. Is Rose hurt? Why did you say that, Ben? Because I thought I saw a tweet about Rose being hurt. I don't know anything about this, but I thought I saw something minutes ago. I don't know why you're saying that. I think it was unlikely that Rose was going to play. Rose is 40-something years old, right? I mean, he's almost 50 years old. He's not going to play 5 sessions. He's not. He can be there to be a good shepherd and a good leader and a good savvy vet, and he can get in there in alternate shot or in best ball or whatever, right? It doesn't, whatever. So I wasn't expecting him to play every single session, but I don't know why you said that, because I thought I saw that on Twitter, saw something on Twitter. So I mentioned Jaron. I think Cam Young is a very good candidate to come in kind of session 2 through 5 and make a run at it. For the Europeans, that's probably, I don't like the guys that they're sitting, I think are sitting properly, right? So it is Lowry, Rose, Straka, and Højgaard. I think of those, Lowry is probably the one I would have the most confident in. I'm not super confident in it, but maybe he plays with Rory McIlroy, which would obviously be a huge boost. He's been pretty good at alternate shot. That would be pretty interesting. But again, I think it's probably Cam Young for the American. This I agree with Steve. So Steve says, okay, bettors, we should not tolerate 30-cent juice on DraftKings. I don't know if I just lost the internet or not, but I think I'm back. The odds that are being set on these books are insane. And this is what I thought. Okay, by the way, so just checking the line movement here. I'm just going to check the line movement real quick. Rahm and Hatton are now the favorites, which I don't think. Okay, no, they were the favorites earlier. Russell and Scheffler are already up to minus 190 from the minus 175 that I had. So that means Ludwig and Fitzpatrick are plus 140. Rory and Fleetwood are the same. And then a lot of, Xander and Cantlay are getting to be significant favorites right now, minus 155. So that has changed as well. This is criminal. It's criminal what these books do and get away with. I thought, remember when everything, okay, so now we're in the world of everything is AI, right? You got to have AI in everything. I got to have AI in my soup, in my like cereal bowl, and like my fridge has to have AI. My putter has to have AI. Like my pen has to have AI. Like everything's got to be AI. Remember when we went through a stretch where everything was the blockchain and everything had to be on the blockchain, and my fridge had to be on the blockchain, and my cereal had to be on the blockchain, all that stuff. We got the dumbest applications on the blockchain. And the absolute greatest application of the blockchain is a sports book, or at least peer-to-peer matching users. You have this side, I want that side. Put you together and do it for like 2% or 5% or whatever it is. Like, what are we doing here with these 30-cent lines? I agree with you. Anyway, long story short. My favorite captain. So I'm looking at this kind of in real time as you guys are. As I was going through this, I was trying to think about the answer to that question. Captaining Hovland, so you'd be paying $12,000 for him, which would be just a little bit cheaper than Scotty Scheffler, I think is very fun, if you will. The other one would be, I would have to see what the lineups that you could build, but could you captain Fleetwood? And still make solid lineups around that, because what you then have is the cheaper player who is playing with McIlroy, who is going to play in the first session, who is on the biggest favorite in that session. That would be a very good starting point for lineups, I believe. Also, captaining Hatton, because you are probably going to get 4 sessions of Hatton. 2 of them are probably going to be with Jon Rahm, in which they're very good in foursomes. He's in a position to be a favorite right now, and he is also not remotely expensive enough to make this a problem. So $7,400. So $7,400 in the captain's position is $11,100. So it basically makes him slightly cheaper than Scotty Scheffler. So is Hatton the cheapest guy who is on a favorite in match 1? I think the answer is yes, because Fitzpatrick is not all. He's playing. He's cheaper, but he's not on a favorite. Morikawa is not. English is not. I believe that is correct. So yeah, Hatton is very much becoming one of my favorite captains at the moment. I want to play Hovland, but I'm worried he may get outmatched all 5 rounds if he plays all 5. So hold on a second. Why would he get outmatched? Just because of you could say that about anybody, right? I like Fleetwood, but what if he gets, or I like Ludwig, but what if he runs into Scotty Scheffler every single match, right? If that's what you're arguing about, we're not going to know that. So we have the information here for session number 1, and then we'll kind of go from there. But I've been saying this for a week. I'm like pretty confident Victor's going to play five matches. If not, he's going to play 4. I don't think there's any chance in the world he plays 3. He's played now, again, 11 out of 11 possible matches Victor Hovland has played in his Ryder Cup career. Okay, it's pretty good. And he's very popular. He's a good team player. He has a lot of people in the locker room who want to play with him. He's young and fit. Like, that's part of it. Like, there's a reason the 50-year-old, the 48-year-olds don't play 5 matches, right? I think Victor's going the distance here, unless he's like 0-4 or something, or 0-3 out of the gate. Unless he and Bobby Mack get absolutely, and probably not even. I bet you he's going to play both sides of this. Yeah, the Norwegians are there. Oh, I don't know if the commentators are, but he did a ton of Norwegian press today. So after they leave the like their main presser, so the last, I don't know, 8 or 10 guys had press conferences today. Everybody gets like 15 minutes in the press room. And then after they leave that, they do like a media scrum, which is where you just like, it's like chaos. You just go up and just start throwing questions at him. And he was doing a lot of that, not in English. And unless it was Mandarin, it was Norwegian. So yeah, the Norwegian press is around. I don't know if those specific commentators are that are like, our baby boy has done it again, our shining bright star. I don't know if those guys are there, but there are definitely plenty of Norwegians. I'm at the end of the questions. I can stop or I can go on. I've got a lot of thoughts about this. I do have to go make some bets or whatever. I gotta, but I'm happy to sit here and answer a couple more questions, but this is going to be a lot of fun. And this is, it's always a quick turnaround between session 1 and session 2 because you only get like a half an hour to kind of decompress everything that you've seen in the morning and get the groups that are going out in the afternoon and then make those quick decisions. So it's a very quick turnaround. So this part's very, very fun. I guess I'm just going to go make lineups. I don't know. I'm at the end of the question. A lot of people here, so I appreciate you guys hopping in for this and being cool about it and letting me do this on, what are we, Thursday night at, is it 5:15 p.m. Eastern time. They pick round 2. It'll end up being like as these sessions are ending. So it'll be like at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning or something like that. Victor shot 9 under at a course back home last week. And today he said he found the feel yesterday. Yeah. So he said his swing feels fluid instead of him steering it for the first time in like 2 years. Now, he didn't know if he could keep that going today, but that's what he said yesterday. He also said nobody at Bethpage can say anything that's worse than what he already says to himself when asked by a ravishing, handsome journalist about how he's going to deal with the Bethpage faithful. Who was? It might have been me. Do you think Scotty at captain is too hard to make a good lineup? All right, so let's play this out for a second. So if we go Scotty at captain, how do we find that relief? You could play Harris English. I don't mind that. You're getting a golfer that you know is going out in match number 1. I know they're going to get smoked. But here's the thing. If they don't get smoked, this is match play. It's alternate shot match play. This match is going to be decided by like 3 shots, and 2 of them are going to be lucky breaks. Okay. If you went Scheffler, captain, and then English, and somehow that English match is just close for a while, I think you've made out like a bandit. And there's a chance that English gives you, and then obviously fill out the rest of your lineup. Like, I think that would be a pretty reasonable way to do it. Is Hovland minus 165 over 1.5? Oh, you know what I did? I think I got him at 2. Let me see. I got to get this thing to load. I was talking all this nice stuff about BetMGM, and now I can't get the app to load. Yeah, I think I already bet like +2 on, or 2+ on Hovland. I definitely have it on Spawn. It says we're logging you in, spinning. We're logging you in. I don't think you are logging me in. I think you're just spinning. Is Griffin or Spawn a terrible idea for captain? Danny, I wish it wasn't the case, but probably. I mean, unless you're going to then, could you, if Griffin or Spawn as captain could get you both 2 of Scotty, Rory, Fleetwood or something like that, that wouldn't be so bad. But I think that's a very, very high risk play. How about Cantlay as a sneaky top point scorer? He's a favorite in a match early, and you know he's got a good partner, but I do not trust that team for the first time in recent history and the first time in team history. I do not trust Cantlay, Schauffele. Maybe I'm wrong. The Norwegian commentators are not here. There you go. Thank you, Kavakers, for answering that for me. Do you think the course setup without penalizing rough would make a bomb and gouge player a decent bet? No, Scotty is. Oh, I see what you're saying. Scotty's by far the best player. It doesn't matter. He's long. He's straight. It doesn't matter. So who would be the sneaky bomb and gouge guy? That might play a lot. I mean, I wish Cam Young was going out early. I really wish Cam Young was going out early. What's Rory's number? Rory's almost certainly going to play 5 sessions, isn't he? Any mutters for tomorrow? So, there was discussion today about whether they're going to play lift, clean, and place or not, which I think they would. I don't think they're against that, which is going to change the whole thing. If they go lift, clean, and place, Russell Henley's gonna be better than Scotty Scheffler is going to be, right? Like it's going to be scary, and that would be very bad for like McIntyre and JT. Quite honestly, be horrible for JT. I think if they go lift, clean, and place tomorrow. Early leans for the Sanderson, yeah. Pearson Cootie, no, I don't know. At most, how many players would you put in your lineup that are not starting on Friday morning? Like two that I feel comfortable with. Like there'd probably be Americans as opposed to Europeans. Lowry would maybe be the only one that I'd feel okay with on the European side. But I think you can make a case for Spawn, Griffin, maybe even Burns as well. So maybe 2 would probably be the most that I would do, but probably not going to do anything more than that. All right. I think that'll do it. This mutter was a mutter. I'm actually right. Well, I almost doxed myself and told you where I'm at. I guess I can tell you where I'm at. I'm at the Aqueduct, which is a horse racing track right there. I don't know if they still use it. I think they do. Looks like it. Hour and a half on the shuttle today. Whew, both ways. Oof, mamacita. All right. Well, thanks for everybody tuning in. I've got nothing left to say. Armina's going to close this down for me. But listen, here's what I'll do. I will try to tweet out a bunch of crap. It won't be crap, but it'll be stuff over the course of the next handful of days. I will not be at my computer, but I will probably be, sitting on my phone somewhere. When do Scotty first out? I already bet this. This is already out. So Ben says, when do Scotty first out in Sunday singles odds release? These are out already for both teams. I got it on BetMGM. Let me look at DraftKings real quick and see if they're out. No, DraftKings has like longest hold putts. Will there be an albatross? Blah, blah, blah. No, I got it at BetMGM, which is like the only place that I've seen it thus far, but they are out already. All right, Mina, do it. Shut us down. Goodbye.